What's going on, guys? You found Bottom Tier Collector, and I'm your host, The Bearded One. As always, we're bringing you bottom tier stories from a bottom tier reader. Today we've got Batman and Lobo, Deadly Serious, Sam Keith. And Sam Keith did it all, writing and the art, but he is colored by Alex Sinclair. Sinclair is an artist that I haven't heard in a long time. I had forgotten he had something to do with this book, and to my knowledge, Sinclair has only done one or two images of Lobo in his entire history, so probably why I'm not that familiar with Sinclair, probably why I've forgotten Alex Sinclair, but I know he used to be a big name in the early 2000s. Kind of fits into that painted imagery style, like an Alex Ross or an Opeña or a Dan Brereton or even a Sam Keith. I think he does some painting style art from time to time. But this is courtesy of 22 Comics. Want to do some house cleaning first. 22 Comics, we got to talking in Fanboy Prime's chat earlier today as of the time of recording this video. And I guess he's a pretty big Batman fan. He took offense to me saying that The Dark Knight Rises and issue 20 of Scott Snyder's New 52 run of Batman was the last time I was a fan of Batman. Honest opinion, I know that offends people, but it's just how I feel. Haven't been interested in Batman since 2015, maybe. But, you know, in honor of 22 Comics, being a fellow Alabamian, gotta stick together with my fellow statesmen. I'm gonna review Batman Lobo Deadly Serious. So this book, this story, it doesn't have a lot of. It's not very dynamic. It's not very complex. It's kind of straight to the point. This entity, I don't know what else to call her. She's either a ghost or an apparition, or we're just gonna say entity, named Estrella, comes to Batman in Wayne Manor, and he's immediately zapped 72 million light years away, I believe it is, to a random spaceship where he meets this lady named Stella. I think it's her name. Estrella or Stella, can't remember. And she gives him the skivvy that there is a disease in the spaceship causing women to go wild. They start to drink alcohol, they start to shoot guns and kill people, and they start to act crazy and wild. And Batman's been sent to the spaceship to stop these women. Enter Lobo. They come to a scene where Lobo has attacked one of these women, and Batman doesn't believe him, but Lobo's trying to convince Batman and Stella that this woman has indeed attacked him first. And little do we know, the virus or whatever it is making these women go wild, it has entered the body of Stella. So while Batman and Lobo are arguing and bickering, which they do a lot in this story, Stella then starts to go on a killing spree, and she starts to drink alcohol, and she starts to act wild and crazy. And eventually the virus gets passed on to a schoolgirl. If Stella, I guess, finds her way to this schoolgirl on a field trip on this spaceship, and then the schoolgirl steals Lobo's bike and goes on a killing rampage. Where have we seen this before? Lobo's trying to stop the schoolgirl, and before Lobo can get a hold of the girl and kill her, she gets away. And then Batman explains to her that they need her alive, and they're going to try to isolate the virus and try to come up with a cure. And while Batman is is kind of giving us his plan, what he's going to do, I'd like to throw up a really cool splash page image. The art is not consistent for me. Some panels I really love. Some panels I don't love. But I'd like to insert an image here that is really awesome of Batman and Lobo. while Batman's explaining how they're going to defeat this virus. And I don't know the schoolgirl's name, but she comes across this monster. I don't know what the monster looks like. He's kind of unusual, but there's a monster on the spaceship as well. And I think it defeats the schoolgirl who comes in but she doesn't die. She gets back on Lobo's bike and runs into a gun store, and it blows up. And Lobo's bike blows up, the girl blows up, and the remains of her body, I believe, come into contact with this stripper. Yes, this is a pretty bizarre story. And then what does the stripper do? The stripper goes on a rampage. Where have we seen this before? The stripper starts blowing things up and killing people, and Batman's trying to convince her to not kill and destroy these people, and then there's some kind of social commentary. I don't think it's political. I don't like politics in my comics. Not trying to say that. But there's just little commentary there about, Elsie's talking about whenever women pick up something fun and feel free, men always have to come in and step in and take it away. And they don't stop the stripper, and we come to the end of the issue pretty much with the stripper killing and maiming her way to Earth. And that's where issue 2 picks up. Batman and Lobo are going to be on Earth. I'm going to stop here and put in a jump cut, and on the other side, join me for part 2 of Batman and Lobo Deadly Serious. Alright, it's part 2, guys. Batman, Lobo, Deadly Serious, and we're taking Earth in this issue. The stripper that Batman and Lobo have been chasing has torn up an Air Force base. She's gone on another deadly rampage, and Gotham Police, James Gordon, and this female named Estrella. I guess Estrella is the entity from the first issue. I just didn't piece it together until just now, literally as I'm talking my way through the issue. And the stripper gets stopped by the police, and the spirit or the virus or whatever enters Lobo. First time that the entity has entered a male, or the virus, not the entity. And Lobo starts going on a more unusual rampage than usual. We're talking a character who's in his origin story. He destroyed his entire race just to be the last of his kind, just to be unique. And so, with the virus inside him, it's just even more unique than that. And all he wants to do is drink and be violent and go on angry rampages. And so he does, and Batman and Estrella are trying to stop him. And I believe Lobo is trying to make his way to Vegas. He wants to go to a strip club and meet some babes, and Batman and Estrella have determined that the virus is trying to procreate, is what I was trying to think. So they got to get to Vegas. They got to stop Lobo. And they end up stopping Lobo, with the virus then enters Estrella. And Estrella is trying to get Batman to kill the virus. The only way to kill this virus is inside the host or while it's in transition. And Batman won't do it. And throughout this whole issue, Lobo and Estrella have been trying to get Batman to kill, and Batman just can't do it. Because compassion is what separates us from the villains. That's Batman's longtime philosophy. And so Estrella, at the end of the issue, Estrella gets Jim Gordon to kill her. And that's how the virus dies, and James Gordon or Jim Gordon tells Batman that she wasn't a member of the government. Nobody can figure out who she even was, and she asks Batman, who was she? And the very last words of the issue are, she was a friend. And it just kind of drops you on a cliffhanger. So that's Batman Lobo Deadly Serious in a nutshell. I did a pretty quick review, I think. Honestly, I don't like the story very much, and I remember not liking it very much when I first read it. The biggest irk I have about the story is the scripting. I don't feel like Sam Keith captured the voice of Lobo and Batman very well. I don't think that his story was very creative. It was pretty repetitive. I don't know why it needed 2 square-bound issues to tell this story. It was very basic. Like it was just Batman and Lobo chasing a virus, infecting all these women and causing them to kill people. Like it was just a violent, basic story. And I'm a Lobo fan here, so I don't need complex storytelling. I enjoy it very, very much so. But even so, not having to have every story be Sandman. I still didn't appreciate just the elementary storytelling here. It's just not a very good story. Making a recommendation here. I think this review should be all you need of this story. I see no reason why anyone other than a Lobo fan would want to read this. Because if you're a Batman fan, there are so many other books out there you could be reading. But, us Lobo fans, the material is few and far between. Even if you're an appearance collector like me. So maybe if you're a Lobo fan, you might want to read this. Maybe if you're a Sam Keith fan, you might want to read this. The only benefit I could see to having this in your collection is some of the art is really cool and really unique. Some really good images. Sam Keith got some really good splash pages in there. Although it's not very consistent. Some of his art kind of stinks in this arc. I'm not gonna lie. Sam Keith is just kind of jarring. Even on this cover here, these 2 covers here, it's just not consistent. It definitely stays within the Sam Keith vein, but I don't know. Just sometimes it's like, wow, like Sam Keith, I get it now. And then sometimes I look at a page and I'm like, I'm not a fan of it. So it you just gotta kind of take Sam Keith for what he is. Just one of those erratic, fast-paced, like scribbly, scrabbly artist, kind of like a Simon Bisley. If you like these covers, if you're a cover collector, I think this would be more appropriate for cover collectors. If you're collecting Sam Keith covers or collecting Lobo or Batman covers, I think these would be cool pieces in your collection. These might be cool to display the figure, much like I've got right here in the background. But as far as reading material, there's just not much here. I'm not a great fan of this story. I'm going to keep it in the collection because Lobo, obviously. I love Lobo, and I want to have his appearance history. That's my number one goal. And so when you are collecting an appearance history, you're going to collect a lot of trash, you're going to collect a lot of garbage, you're going to collect a lot of things you're not a fan of. And this is one of them. So, that's it for me, guys. Lobo, Deadly Serious, 22 comics. Maybe next time I can review a story I think more favorably of for you that includes Batman, and I can be a little more energetic. I apologize, guys. Reviewing this issue, it's probably somewhere between midnight and 1 a.m., which is pretty late for me these days. So the energy's a little low, but I got through it nonetheless, and I hope you got through this video. I hope you enjoyed at least just the fact that, you're here watching my content, and I want to thank you guys for watching my content and subscribing and commenting. I'm never going to ask you for a sub. I want organic followers. I want people that care about my content to hit that subscribe button. I don't want you to feel compelled like you have to hit that subscribe button, because I don't want you to if you really don't care about my channel. Lastly, before I exit 22 Comics, I name dropped him. Go check out his channel, 22 Comics. He's also got a podcast that I recently put in my podcast catcher, Comics. Let me see if I can say this the right way. Comically Comics Podcast. That's how you say it. Look it up. I found it in my podcast catcher, so I didn't even go into Spotify or iTunes, which I believe 22 has said that his podcast is on Spotify and iTunes. So look there if you use Spotify or iTunes. I just use a podcast catcher because I listen to so many podcasts. It's just nice to have a hub, to have all my podcasts in one place. And he's there. So put it in podcast catcher, Comically Comics Podcast. And that'll do me, guys. Batman, Lobo, deadly serious. Until next time, guys.